All right, this is actually session 14 for it all changes from here. So the platform that I created about a year ago, obviously that's one session every month, so it's about 14 months so far, is to provide a platform for people to discuss how to improve their mindset, how to improve their personal life, how to improve their leadership in the way of becoming successful in many ways in the field that you in love with, whether it's your sports or it's your career or your relationship, anywhere that you think you need improvement requires a mindset change at the start, and that's why we're here. Okay. Some disclaimer before we go forward. So you already know that this event is recorded and it may be shared on social media. I'm not registered as a life coach. For this particular event, I want to make sure that you guys know I am not a financial advisor. Okay. I'm not offering any service, and there will be no sales pitch. Some kind of sales coaching pitch at 9.99 at the end of this session. So don't worry. I'm not available 24/7. Why I say that is that I've got a lot of messages people ask me for help, so I'll always get back to you. But just be patient. I might not reply to you straight away. Okay. I'm not teaching anything really. I'm barely just sharing everything that I know. So again, the quality of your question would determine how much takeaways that you can bring home at the end of the session. So you are going to do all the hard work, especially becoming a millionaire. It's not something that's coincidence. It's definitely not luck. It is a pure skill, and the good thing about pure skill is we all can learn it. Okay. I would like to thank MKG for promoting this event. All right. If we get it started on just on this particular page, right? If like a lot of people thinks that becoming millionaire is that you have to own a business, or you have to win a lotto, or you have to have something special to you. So I want to just paint a picture right now in regards to how many different ways are there is possible to become a millionaire, for example. So the first picture is a guy that's in a suit and doing many different things. Obviously, that represents someone who's probably doing a business, running a business, right? So just think about, is that what you want for, is that how you see yourself becoming a millionaire in the future? If that's the case, feel free to, put in the chat box saying that, yeah, this is me. This is, will bring me, you know, lots of money in the future, because that's all I know. Okay. The next one is someone win a jackpot or a lotto of anything. Like there's many people has become millionaire that way, but is that how you see yourself being a millionaire? Maybe, maybe not. Right? If that's what you want to do, there's a way to do it too. Just put in the chat box for us if that's you. Or is that you? Like when you become millionaire, you think about yourself, you just do absolutely almost nothing, and on the beach relaxing, enjoy family life, enjoy relationship building, just enjoy traveling. If that's you, put in the chat box for us. Or are you someone who's more entrepreneurial and read a lot of books, and someone who has a belief of improving yourself, learning a lot from people, learning a lot from courses, learning a lot from the books that will bring you. So that's one of the you know very useful way to become a millionaire as well, in my view. So if that's what do you think can work, feel free to put in the chat box as well. We'll discuss that later. Okay. All right, so before we dive into our main topic of today, in terms of how to become a millionaire after you graduate, I would like to introduce to you this Will's framework of success again for the for the people who has been here for many times and you have already heard this, but for the for the new members here, um, this is purely a creation from my own experience. You won't be able to find in any books. That's how I find success will work if you just follow the steps. So this is how it works. Okay. So there will be or has been a day in your life, and when you suddenly realize that you actually don't have any spare time to waste, and you tell yourself, life is short, and then you want to make the maximum of it, and you start to appreciate the time in life that makes you think that you want to or you have to, fix your situation or improve your situation for the better. Okay, so that comes from your heart. That sort of comes from you really appreciate the life. You really appreciate the time, because if you don't have that appreciation, good things may not come. The good thing is, you start to use your time for a better things rather than just you know sleep, or rather than just watching TV and those all sorts of time wasting thing. You will start to see that you get reduction in the time spending in all those non-effective things. Okay, so once you got the heart set right, you tell yourself, why am I not there yet? And you start to look around and see other people are doing something very possible that you've been dreaming of, right? Your friend Lisa or your friend John, they're doing a business, they're making money, or someone who's, just even someone who's coming out from a transformation program from a course, and they really start to do something a lot different, but you are not there yet, but you're just witnessing, you don't know what to do. So the next stage is really, from observing other people's change, you start to change your mindset and telling yourself that change is actually possible, and change is actually very possible. So you start to convince yourself, I'm starting to believe in these things. You know what? Seeing is actually believing. Seeing someone doing things, believing is all it needs to change your mindset. Okay, and you no longer think you can't learn or master a new skill. Your new understanding of your belief and your mindset will empower you to visualize a better vision for yourself. And just to put it simply, your vision is simply who you want to become. Okay, so it's who you want to become in a particular situation in a definable future. All right, so the next step is basically your vision. So again, you ask yourself, I'm seeing myself becoming that particular person in a particular situation, making this amount of money, having this relationship with people, and having this set of skills, and making this amount of impact and influences to the world. Um, so why are you not there yet? Okay, so the next question is really related to the skills. So you ask yourself why you're not there. You start to assess yourself. Okay, your physiology, your psychology, your personality, strengths, weaknesses, skills, and your network. Right. Once you realize that, it's a very good start, because you start to understand your gap. You start to understand, I'm at point A and I want to go to point B, and how do I do it? So next stage is definitely to learn the skill. And the slowest way to learn a skill is to learn it by yourself. Yeah, you start to play any professional sport. If you try to play yourself for 10, 20 years, you will never get a gold medal. Okay, so you have to find a coach, you have to find a mentor, you have to find a group of people who is doing it with you together. Okay, so that's the best thing to do, is to find a mentor, find a mentor for your life, find a mentor of who's already done the things that you wanted to do, and follow exactly what he or she does. And it's that simple. Okay, so the next stage is, once you find a mentor, you start to find that your time spending will becomes more focused. Your time spending will start to become dedicated, more intentional, and that brings you to the next level, which is at the level of focus. When people are focused on something, they will exert a tremendous amount of charisma, and people around you will feel it. When people around you feel it, they will ask you, what are you doing? What's going on in your life? And it's suddenly that you start to form a connection and network with people who's a very, very like-minded, and you guys decide to go forward with your dreams together. And that is very powerful, because think about what are the chances that you can win an Olympic gold medal this year. For me, it's zero. I'm not sure about you. It's absolutely zero for me. And for some of you may think you're one in a million. And if you think like that, you will never become successful, right? Because you're not believing in that. But think about, if you were actually being selected in the past in an Olympic, professional sports association or institute when you were very young, you train when starting from very young. You already start to train with a group of people who's dedicated themselves to win Olympic medal, probably 50 people, 100 people. So suddenly your chance of success, getting increased from 1 in 1 million to 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000. You see the odds are working towards you. That's why the association with people, your network, is very, very important. Okay. And how do you drive your mindset to have a particular outcome? Okay. And that particular outcome is what I have just expressed, is your vision, who you want to be, and what are you going to have. So if you just imagine a tree, the fruits and the leaf on the tree that you can see is the outcome, um, that I'm try to describe here. The ultimate outcome that you can possess right now, your car, your relationship, your house, or even your phone. That is the outcome, as a result of your behavior. Okay. What I mean by behavior is, what do you do every day? Do you go to work that gives you 70 grand or 100 grand of income? And with that kind of income and with that environment, uh, you will limit to who you can know more, or you will limit what you can buy. And that's why your behavior will drive an outcome. Okay. And your behavior comes from your identity, um, from the deep end of yourself. For example, um, if you if you never believed that yourself can be an entrepreneur, you will never behave like one, and you will never start a business yourself, and you will never even have a chance to earn a large amount of money. Because if you are always identify yourself as a full-time worker, you will always go to a place and work, and your salary is always determined. In that way, your outcome is very limited, if that makes sense. Okay. So your identity is very, very important in terms of money. But where does your identity come from? It's your identity is actually coming from your belief system. Your belief system, and all of our belief system, is actually borrowed from somewhere. It's borrowed from someone or borrowed from somewhere, because you believe a specific way that drives you to a certain identity. For example, um, for example, if you believe retirement is is boring, and if you believe money is come and goes and the money is evil, you will never change your identity of a to a money loving person or a people loving person. And then again, that identity will shape your behavior, and your outcome will show the same, right? So that's why the belief system is your root. Once you fix your root, your identity will be changed or become more stronger. Then you can have more branches, from your identity, and that is a behavior, and your leaf will be greener, your fruits will be sweeter, and that's how it works. But what drives your belief is who you have been associated with in the past, right? Your family members, how you been raised up, which country are you from, and who's been influencing you in the last 5 years or 10 years. All of those environmental um, influences will eventually drive your belief, and belief can be changed. It is very hard to change a belief, but it can be changed. It takes a number of years of training to change a belief. I'm one of those guys who changed my belief, and I know it works. So this is how I think everything can work, and I think this tree diagram and the framework of success that I've just presented is very much um, related to our topic today. Okay, I'll tell you why a bit later. Look at these people, right? Everybody's got different career, and they sort of do a little bit different things. But the question to you is, do you want to become a millionaire, or do you want to become a person who has $1 million? There's a difference. If you read it very carefully, becoming a millionaire and becoming a person who just have $1 million are two very different things. If you go back to the lottery winner that I've just presented, like you can have $1 million, but you can spend it in the way, with your old belief, and it can be gone in the next day, right? In fact, more than 60% of NBA players, after they retire, they actually got bankrupt in 5 years. Okay, so and from statistics, I think it was like 80% of lottery winners in the US when they go bankrupt in 5 years. Why? Because they never think like a millionaire. And that's why they can't hold the money. Even if you have the money, you will lose the money. So what I say is um, the difference between a real rich person and a poor person is when you take money away from a rich person, they can always make the money back. But when you give the same money to a poor person and you take money away from that person, you can never make it. So it's not about how much money you have right now. It's what's in your head or what are your skills that will determine how rich you're gonna be in the future. Purely dollar wise. I'm not talking about ethics and whatnot today, just talk about dollars, okay? So there are some misunderstandings and objections of money, right? So who can tell me that in the chat box, because I can't see you, right? Who can tell me in your past, um, what are some probably misunderstanding of money and retire early? Can anyone relate if you guys think, for example, retirement is boring? If you ever thought about it, can you let us know in the chat box? No, no, cool. Okay, Tracy says yes. Retirement is boring, right? Yeah, so the people have again, people have different views, right? Retirement. If you think about you are retiring with just enough money to keep your livings, of course it's going to be boring. Okay, retirement is is actually a choice. Imagine yourself you can retire with $2 million and and you have a constant cash flow income to support your living for the next 40 years of your life. Um, I think life just to me that life just got started after retire because you really can without do something that you love without worrying the survival part of things, right? So some people think money is not everything. Who thought of that, Phil? People say money can't buy happiness, money can't buy relationship. You know, health is important, of course. Yeah, yeah. So I want to introduce a concept here is that money is not everything. I do have shared agreement with that. The point is that, but money is evidently very important in the modern society because we are all born to be doing something that we believe that we are good at. It's that if you're good at tennis or good at playing violin, but you're prevented from pursuing that particular career just because you need money to survive, and that's very sad. That's a very, very sad thing. So money is not everything, but I want you to think about if you treat money as your loved ones, your parents or your brothers, sisters, or your husband, wife. If you start to tell your wife or your loved one saying that I don't like you, I don't like you every single day, you just tell you're not everything, I don't like you, you're not everything. Guess what's going to happen, and what's going to happen is that your relationship with that particular person will be further and further, and then eventually you will fall apart. My view is that although money doesn't have a life, but that the way that you treat money, it's the same in the way that you treat people around you. Okay, so if you have a resistance towards earning money and earning a lot of money and loving money, then money is not going to come to you because you haven't put money in a high priority in your life. Okay, but again, guys, I understand the importance of health and relationship, right? Don't get me wrong on that. I'm just pointing out the way that you point your focus on something will make a tremendous difference of what you do, and that's the behavioral thing. Remember, your behavior will ultimately determine your outcome. What do will produce what you're gonna have. Okay. So we talked about earlier, like retirement is boring, losing your skills and sharpness after retirement. So that certainly came up to my mind, in the past as well. Can that relate to anyone in this group today? Again, if you just put in the chat box, I can't see your faces. All right. So I'll just share with you what I thought before. I always thought I have to do something. My mind needs to be sharp, otherwise I would just become, a useless person in this world. And certainly that's not what we want because we always live for a particular purpose. But again, like losing your skill and sharpness is actually a choice. And after retirement, you can actually learn new skills and master your old skills as well. There's no one stopping you from doing that. All that's different is that you get to choose as to do that particular thing as much or as little as you want and whenever you want it, and that is the point. um, it's money is definitely, to me, it's not a get rich fast scheme. And if anyone think that you can get rich very fast in next 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, I think that's probably dreaming. It's definitely a long-term game in this. And Catherine's, yeah, lotto is get rich fast, but you will get poor very fast as well. People say that what do you win by luck, you will eventually lose by your skill. That's what happens to those NFL and NBA players and lotto winners, right? So it's definitely not a fast get rich fast game. Okay, so making money is about working hard. Anyone agree or disagree with that statement? All right, thank you, Tracy. Working smart as well. Yes, and both. Yes, and no both. Yep. Not only relying on it. Yep. Working smart and right. Brilliant. Like, um, without a certain working strategy, in my view, is doesn't matter how hard you work. Like you can work 24 hours, a day on your job, you will still not get there because there's things that are just not scalable. There are things that are not expandable or renewable. So by just working hard is definitely not going to work. Working smart and working hard combined is the way to go in my view. I'll share with you some examples a bit later on this. Okay. I can never retire early working full time. Remember, I put this as a objection and misunderstanding. Has this statement ever come to your mind ever? In fact, how many people are still working full time? If you're just putting a chapter saying I'm working as an employee full time, don't have my own business. All right, Catherine, thank you. Tracy is no. Working full time. Barrett, Brandon, no. Side hustle. Yep, yep. Um, Today I will show you a model that can actually get you retired early, even if you work full time. Okay, as I said before, there's many ways to become a millionaire. Working full time is actually possible to get yourself to a millionaire. Of course, there will be other sacrifices, but if you just ask me the question, can you get and become a millionaire just working full time? You certainly can. Okay, who's excited about hearing that? Catherine? So, what are our challenges, guys? Before I go further, what are your challenges? Why are you not there yet, in your view? You're missing a way to do it, you're missing discipline, you're missing focus, you're missing direction, or missing guidance. What are you missing? If anyone can just share. Oh, no time. Yeah. direction, experience, discipline. You're great. Priorities. All right, very good. Very good. Okay, I want to introduce this term, like the first sentence, as you can see on the screen that everybody knows. Money can make money, and money makes money if you have money. The second is not known by a lot of people. Fire is about money, makes money, that makes money. I'll read it again. Fire is about money, makes money, that makes money. And the second part of the question, the second part of the statement is very, very important here. Okay. And first of all, I need to introduce a concept of fire. You know, if I didn't invent the word fire, someone did, and it's called, financially free. Sorry, financially independent and retire early. You know, financially independent, retire early. That's called the fire, and it's actually a movement in this world. You can search on YouTube on fire, and a lot of people are doing it, and they have different ways of doing it. Okay. What I'm just saying here is fire is not about just making some money and living on it. It's about making enough money for the money to make more money for you, and that's takes a very special way of uh, doing things in terms of changing your belief, changing your identity, changing your behavior, and the outcome will come. Okay, so this is what we mainly gonna focus on for today. As I said before, what people win by luck, they will eventually lose by their skill because um, um, to sustain a person's wealth, you really have to know exactly how wealth and money works. And again, that takes luck. And that, sorry, that takes skill. I'm sorry, that takes skill. That doesn't take luck, and skill can be learned. And that's the best news that I think you guys can hear so far for tonight. It really can be learned. So, what are the answers, guys? I want to introduce to you this a pyramid system. You know, don't be negative about the pyramid. This is the best pyramid I can ever come up with. Okay, so just I won't ask each individual of you of where you are right now on this pyramid. But first of all, if you guys can just tell me that if you can see everything clearly at least. Too small, okay? Too small. How do I do it? Can maybe I should just read it out. Yeah? Is everyone cool if I read it out? Okay. So basically, from bottom to top is bottom is the financial survival strategy. It's when you just earning money barely enough just to cover your cost and feed your family. All right. The next level up is how you control your money. You start to pay off some of your debt, and you start to live a little bit better, and you budgeted for your survival on regular basis. And the next level up is a action plan that to develop your wealth. You know, here is when you save money for life insurance, for retirement fund, for kids, and for wealth accumulation. And the next level up is called the snowball effect, and it's called asset accumulation. Okay, and it's very, very important here. The one keyword here is not wealth accumulation here anymore. It's called asset accumulation. Okay, does anyone know what an asset is? If you can just put in the chat box, what do you think is an asset? Great. Something produce income, something valuable, something that's putting money in your pocket. Yep. Anything that puts money in your pocket, great. Yep. That's exactly what asset is. Asset doesn't have to be a property. Asset can be a business. Asset can be your network. Imagine, you know, anywhere like Cristiano Ronaldo, or Messi, or Steve Curry, or LeBron James, and all of those millionaire athletes. they are using their talent. They are using their talent as their asset. They're using their, you know, influence in in creating a better, more entertained view of sports, if I put it that way. And that's exactly how you know pulls in all the sponsors' money, and that's their asset. So what is your asset, and what are the assets out there? Is something that I think we want to all learn about. You know, it doesn't have to be just limited to property or share. What most people can appreciate what asset is, but it's actually much more than that. Okay, but we are at that stage to accumulate asset and try to get that asset to a compound effect, and for you to go up a level to the green zone, which is, you know, the rich class, or the, you know, the rich class start with the middle class, which is uh, a small increase in lifestyle. But guys, this is very, very important here. In everything in the white bit of the triangle, it talks about nothing of how you should buy yourself the newest iPhone or car. Okay? It doesn't talk about how you should buy yourself, you know, a luxury bag or watch. Okay? It talks nothing about that. It's only when you go to a little bit of upper middle class, then you start to improve a little bit of your lifestyle. Okay? Why? Because at that moment, you just start to have some money spare to make some more money. And that will get you to the next stage, which is the financial independence break even point. And this is crucial because if you are not financially independent, if you really need to go to full-time working every single day to make your life and to make your living, and that won't give you retirement. Okay, that will never give you retirement, and it means that you cannot use your time better to produce more income or doing something, or whatever that you want to do with the time. Yeah, remember, time is very limited. Yeah, time is renewable, but time is very limited, and time is fair. Okay, so only if when you become financially independent, then you will have a chance to really become rich. Okay, that is when your investment money, your asset, is really produce more than enough income. When I say more than enough income, it means enough income to cover your living and enough income to cover your luxury life. Okay, and it doesn't have to be much. Just imagine yourself, if you guys can have, you know, 150,000 or 200,000 dollars in your bank without you even need to do anything, you're pretty much in the rich list already. You know, you do, like, I can tell you that 200, if you, it's very difficult to spend 200,000 on basic livings. You know, you probably only spend, you know, 50 or 70,000, you know, if you have a big family. I'm talking about your own out of pocket. Obviously, when you're a couple, you know, your cost may be double, but it's very hard to spend more than 70,000 just for basic living. So all the rest are for luxury, and that luxury money is repetitive every single year. You have a spare of 100,000, 130,000 every single year. Okay, imagine that every single year you have that spare money to invest, you have spare money to go to restaurant, travel, and do investment. That's a brilliant feeling. Okay, and once you have that money, have to give you more snowball effect. Then you get to the wealthy stage. Then you go to the uber rich. Okay, people have uber rich. You usually have their, you know, financial independence sorted first. It doesn't come, you know, just like that, unless you were born from a rich family, which is not what we're talking about here, right? If you're coming from a rich family, and don't think this particular session will benefit you. Okay, does that make sense so far, guys? If there's any questions, I want to stop here and answer questions, because this is a very important pyramid concept that I need you guys to understand before we move forward. Any questions? Oh, I got a question. Can anyone hear me? Because I can't see you. No, no questions. Okay. Catherine says no, we move on. It's very easy to understand. Great. Okay, so this is where we are right now, the $1 million spreadsheet. that I created. It's nothing sophisticated, right? It's a very rough calculation I put together probably in 10 minutes. So let me just stop sharing my screen here and I will show you the spreadsheet, okay? And the spreadsheet will tell you exactly what to do at each stage of your life to become a millionaire by working full time. This is the model I was referring to. And by the way, who thinks working full time for 15 years and retire is a good idea? Or do you rather work 40 years than retire? Tracy says yes. Great. Okay. Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, Catherine. Yeah. No, good. It's good that we're on the same page here. Okay. But the thing is that, are you ready for the sacrifice that's needed for the 15 years of your life? You almost need to downpack 40 years of your life into 15 years in particular training. Like I want to reintroduce, the concept of how people win an Olympic medal, right? So athletes' life are very short in the sense that they have to train their 8 or 12 years of their life to achieve something much greater, to kind of achieve a very high earning for themselves. Otherwise, they might as well. If they don't, their journey is to become a coach of that particular sport. Okay, that's not what they're aiming for. They're aiming for to become someone like a Roger Federer. Eventually can make $19 million a year, and that's what he wanted. But think about yourself. They have a coach every single day to teach them every single hour of what to eat, what to do, how do you sleep, what do you need to watch, what do you need to watch for the opponent, what are the trends of how you swing a racket and here and there, right? So if you don't have $1 million coach in your life, and then you want to squeeze your 40 years of hard work into 15 years, the chances for success to become a millionaire or retire is very, very slim. Very, very slim. Okay, you're not playing a game that start with a chance of success, but you're just doing random things. All right. Let me just share this spreadsheet. Can anyone see? Yeah. I hope you can see because I can't see you again. All right. This one I can go large and small. Don't worry. Does it work? Is this a good size now? Geez, all blurry. What are we gonna do? Is it more clear now? Oh shit. Um. Okay. What can I do? Let me. Is it better? Allison can't see it. Um, yeah, apologies, Allison. I think we have to move forward on this.
I think
Yeah.
we look earlier is better.
Huh?
Smaller is better. Smaller is better. And maybe you can tell the guys to move move your screen to the maximum. Yeah.
Okay.
That will be good. Except you have a square here, block it, a better way you block it.
Okay, the block is the chat box, so otherwise I can't see what you
Remove the
guys.
chat box, I think they will be able to see.
Yeah, yeah. So, is it okay? I'll
Move
put the
it to the
chat
right.
box.
Yeah, move
Sorry?
it to the right or the bottom. That should be good. Yeah.
You good? The chat box is in the middle.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. For maybe for now, I will just minimize the chat box. Is it good now?
Yep.
Yeah. So I have to include Okay, I have to include this area, but otherwise you can't see what's going on. Can you still see this, guys?
Yep, yeah, it will be perfect. It's perfect now, William.
Okay, okay, good, good, good. Look, just go give you an overrun of how this is. It looks very in a lot of numbers here, but it's actually exceptionally simple. It's a very simple spreadsheet. It's basically on the left hand side is the number of years that in your job, and the next column, column B, is your yearly income. I'm putting a very reasonable yearly income as you grow as a professional working full time. And your living cost is something we're gonna discuss about. You're gonna see that the living cost is crazy. That doesn't even give you a lot of chocolates on a weekly basis, right? And there is, a savings, how much you save, how much you invest, how much investment return is, and when do you get retired on the very right hand side. Okay, I want to let you know that before you do anything in terms of moving yourself towards $1 million mark, you need to understand that if you only know how to make money, especially in the full-time working space, right? If you know how to just make more money and get yourself promoted, it alone is not going to make you a millionaire. You have to adjust your living costs, living habits, and how you make yourself comfortable with a living standard. Okay, just to put yourself into perspective, right? Maybe you guys have never been exposed to a term of minimalist. There are people out there living as a minimalist, only cost them 15 grand to per year to live that life. And I won't put a judgment on them saying that that's a shit life. I won't say that because they live very happily too. So it's all about how you adjust your own happiness that will really make you to become a millionaire here in particular. Okay, I'll tell you what I mean, right? And just before I go forward, remember at the very beginning of this session, I said there are things that you need to sacrifice, and there are new ideas that I want you to just be open to. So the new idea here right now is the living cost. Especially for the first number of years, you can see the living cost is exceptionally low, but not impossible. Yeah. But when you sacrifice something, you want to know that why you're sacrificing it, for what purpose. And our purpose is to become a millionaire and retire at the year of 15. You get me? So if you want to choose this path, and there's many, you know, slight variations that you can take away from this formula, but the point is that if the $1 million dream is hungry enough for you, then you have to probably take some sacrifice. And that sacrifice in year one depends on how much you earn. Your year one, you start to know how do you want to live the cheapest way possible that still keeps you happy. Maybe you need to adjust your happiness to a new standard. Okay. And I can tell you, there are people living very happily in the Western society, only cost them 15,000 or 20 grand, a year to live a very, very fulfilled and happy life. Okay. So if we follow that kind of concept, so your living cost is 25 grand when you're earning 45. Let's talk about tax a bit later, right? Um, your saving is 45 minus 25, and that's 20 grand. Okay, simple maths, right? And you put 17 grand into investing. What does that mean? It means you put $3,000 purely on saving. Where does that saving go to? It goes to this emergency money. Okay, I'll come to you in a little bit of why emergency money is utterly the most important fund that you need to have. Okay, so follow on in follow on each year you start to save roughly you start to um, invest 75% of your savings into investment, and every year just accumulate your returns of your investment. And in this particular formula, the return on investment is at 8% every single year. And that 8% to me needs to be a very secured and almost almost the best guaranteed investment that you can have. It's not something that you buy into cryptocurrency or buy a share or anything. It needs to be something like indexes. It needs to be something like a property portfolio, or in that regards. I'm not talking about buying a property. Those two are very two different things. Is some kind of property syndicate that you can contribute and invest your money into, so that money becomes a larger group of pot of money, so people can invest that large pot of money on something that they can afford. For example, if you have 10 grand, you can't afford a property, but you need to invest together with some kind of syndicate, so they have $10 million in investing a commercial property return. And commercial property return is generally anywhere between 8% to 15 and sometimes 20%. And that's usually guaranteed as well with capital growth. Yeah. I'm not here to introduce you to any investment asset today, but that is just the concept. If you think 8% is not possible, but I can tell you 8% is very possible. That's at the very low end. That's why I put this in. Okay, so if you have more than 8% of your current investment, great, you will retire a bit earlier. Okay, again, this is just one standard format for you to get there. There's many variations. If you increase your income, you'll get there faster. If you reduce your living costs, you'll get there faster. Okay, so if we follow just that logic with a percentage of return, with a percentage in investment, with a percentage of savings from your income, and hopefully that you improve your skill and income with your career in this particular increase of order. So what I put in your first 10 years of increase is I put 10% every year. Your salary increase of 10%, right? I know some people don't hit it, but again, this is just a concept, right? Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 3, maybe you need to jump ship to get yourself to earn the money. But remember, doesn't matter what that is, you need to follow this formula. If your current job is not giving you that income, you need to think about how you're going to skill yourself up in your particular expertise and jump ship and work for someone else to get that money. Because your life is not negotiable. You can't just stay there and complain that, oh, Will, I can't make that money. How can I follow this formula? It doesn't make sense. If you want to make that money, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to take this step to increase your full-time job income. Okay, it's not negotiable. All right. So if you keep doing that, you'll eventually find out by the time that you hit 10 years mark, you already have a emergency money of $63,000. Okay, why is $63,000? That money is very, very important. Why? Because once you have money of your once you have amount of money that equals to half of your yearly income, you know that you're safe mentally. Just think about it. If you have half a year of money sitting there that you never touched, you know it's always going to be there available for you. All the decision makings in your life will become much more correct. I'll put it. It will be much more grounded, which will be much more level-headed when you make decisions, because you know that if I make the wrong choice, I still have that emergency money. So I'm not running into a rush to make money. Okay, I'm not making into a rush to get into some high income, high return, but you know, low security kind of investment. And that's exactly where a lot of people fall in that past, including myself. I was once very big in trading forex and shares and whatnot, and at my early 30s, I lost about $250,000 in that investment. But remember, before I lost $250,000, my monthly income from that high risk activity was about 10 to 12 grand a month. Okay, but I'm telling you, if I were to choose again, I'd rather not to have that 10 to 12 grand a month. I'd rather to have a much more grounded investment strategy. And back then, I didn't have emergency money. I didn't even understand what that is even for. Okay, Remember, that happens at your 10th year. You know why that's important? It's when you become, slightly probably towards the, team leaders or low level or mid level management role in your professional career, and you have your emergency money. You're no longer relying on having to beg your employer to keep you employed. You have your upper hand. If they need to fire you for whatever reason, you know that you have the upper hand. If you need to find a new job, you have your upper hand. You have half a year to keep your living standard, or much more than keeping your living standard, because at that year your living standard is only $48,000, right? You have half a year of living as a king to look for another opportunity. So that doesn't get you worried about anything, okay? And if you keep doing that for the next 5 years, with the power of accumulation, with the power of compounding, you will hit $1 million mark. You know, I hope that we all understand what a millionaire means, right? So, I to make sure of that, I actually quickly searched in Google what does a millionaire mean. Millionaire just means that you have a net asset of $1 million. Okay, right? So at that point, you have your investment return plus your savings about slightly above $1 million at 15 years into your career. How good is that, right? Again, don't focus on mind in what you need to sacrifice or do. Just focus on how this actually works. It's amazing how this works. Become a millionaire, and that's your milestone, right? So if you continue to work for another 5 years, if you choose to, okay, you hit a nearly $2 million mark. And that's the power of compounding. It takes you 15 years to earn a million, another only 5 years to earn the second million. And that is when you are time rich. And look at the emergency money that you have right now. The emergency money on the year of 20 years down the track is $200,000 in the bank. You know that you can always rely it to. That kind of money can pay any of your mortgages for a house, any kind of, right, for a year with no problem whatsoever. And at that point, look at this. At that point, you have your yearly investment return. Can anyone see this? $87,000. If you can, just put in a chat box that you can see that number. So I'll make sure that you understand that. Yep, cool, thank you. Okay, that $80,000 is purely the cash flow income coming from the years of accumulation of your investment, but in that particular year. And look at your living standard that has increased over the years 3 times already, right? You only need $67,000 to live for a year happily. And you're earning $87,000 as a passive income without you need to get out of the bed. And that is when it's called time rich, which is the ultimate rich, which gets you to financial freedom and independence and retire early. Okay? So this is where you can really quit your job and do absolutely nothing and travel and still making a living. Okay? But don't spend your money too badly, because you're not really in the green zone yet. You're starting to get into a green zone, and you start to decide whether you want to become a financially independent guy or not. But if you do, it's not the end of the world. Okay, you start to build a confidence, because you're already building a confidence of 20 years of discipline of how you want to live yourself. And if you hit this mark, meaning that your skill in anything in your particular business has been at the point that you can make a living, because you have a track record of 20 years of making money. Okay, so you can choose to quit your job. Okay, so you quit your job at the 21st year of your career, right? How good is that? Okay, you see here the income from your full time. The income from your full time now becomes zero. Okay, your income from a full time job becomes zero. You now start to purely rely on your investment money to make a living. You see that there is still a deficiency between the cost of living to how much your investment brings back to you. 30 grand surplus. So after you're living the way that you kept living for the last 20 years or even better, you still have 30 grand in your bank without you even need to, go to any kind of work. But that's not how my life is going to stop, right? My life just started. I finally can start a low risk, scalable business. Okay? A low risk, scalable business at the year of 21, which I could never have really done before because I'm always um, sidetracked by many distractions, including a full time job. You never really had a clear head of not needing to think about survival. This is only when a good business will come out. You can continue to use your skill that you build up from your professional life, open a business, consult, being a coach, share what you have learned. And that's a low risk scalable business. Okay. It's if you build a business model right, it's very scalable. Okay. And I know how to do that. And but that's not the topic of today. Okay. If you keep doing that, right, assume that this is I'm being very, very conservative guy here, guys. Very conservative. In the next 5 years of time, your scalable business makes $0. Makes nothing. You're just building an asset. You're building an asset-based business, not an income-based business. Okay. When you're building an asset-based business, it's very low risk, and that's your point. You don't want to go back in your, making your earning of money. You don't want to invest $200,000 into a business, try to make that work. That's too high risk. You're building from the ground up, and when you build from ground up, usually the business takes 5 years to really start to make money. Doesn't mean that in these 5 years you make $0. As meaning that you don't have any turnover. You probably have turnover of 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, but all your income will eventually get back into your growth of a business. That's why I didn't account for any kind of business net income for the next 5 years. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Okay? It really doesn't matter because your investment money keeps giving you enough money for you to live a free life, and it still accumulates in the pot. So at the year of 2026, you have $2.7 million in your bank. $2.7 million in your bank. Like you haven't even touched it. You haven't bought any property yet. It's just sitting in your bank, right? Just accumulating assets, accumulating things. It's always yours. It's secure. Okay. This is the year that you can decide for your business, the scalable, low risk business to start making money. Okay, let's say after 5 years, if you ever been exposed to a business world, you will know that $100,000 net profit from a business is very, very, very easy. Again, being super, super conservative here. If you're building an asset-based scalable business at the year 5, you will 100% hit $100,000 of net income. It's it's not even a joke. Like anyone build a business, you know what you're doing. You got coach to do business. You can easily earn $100,000. Okay, because if not, it doesn't make sense. Your business is not doing things right, and it's your responsibility to fix it. So if we say your business improves 10% every year, and this is how I have put it, right? 100 grand, 110, 120, and blah 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 blah. Each year that you have putting extra income into your business, yeah. But again, make sure that your business is not occupying you full time. That's the whole point of building a low risk business. It means that you don't have a client chasing at your back about delivery deadlines. Make sure it's not that kind of business, because that kind of business will get you back into the pre-retirement life. That's not what you want. Okay, so so that's why and doing a low risk scalable business, it gives us the opportunity to grow slowly, and that's how exactly I have modeled, right? At the year of 35, say that you graduate at 22 years old and now you're 57 years old. This is when you call yourself rich. $5 million of return with a whopping $180,000 of cash flow income, passive income, without you needing to do absolutely anything whatsoever, and plus $200,000 of income from your low risk business. That's almost 400 something thousand dollars a year of income. This is when you really living, I don't know, like a king, if I put it. Oh, you can live like a king at 26, a year 26 still, I think. Still a good life, but year 35 is really, really good. At that moment, I will consider to sell the business I have built, and cash in. If you can make, if your business can make $200,000, you can easily sell it as $1 million cash. Easily sell as a business $1 million cash if you're making $200,000 of income. Okay, so your net worth will become $6 million back then, and $6 million, I can tell you, you won't be able to spend for the rest of your life. Okay, you don't have to own a property, or you can own a property, but make sure you don't pay the whole amount of the property, if you know what I mean. Like this $6 million, then my understanding is really today's money. So if you go and buy a $2 million house, you still have $4 million spare. Okay, but again, I'm just giving you some perspectives of numbers. It's not that I'm asking you to do exactly what to do, like buy a house at that point. You may buy a house a bit earlier. It's completely up to you, as long as it doesn't stuff up with this particular formula, right? I'm just giving you in perspective of what you can afford and where you're gonna go. And at the year of 45, and you will have a $10 million of net income. Sorry, as a net asset of yours. And this is, to me, very good goal. And I will be very proud I'm very proud to call myself wealthy at that point. I'm not only wealthy in the money part. I'm also wealthy in the time aspect. Okay. I hope I didn't go through this too quickly. So can I ask if there's any questions so far?
I think, William,
Yep.
since nobody is asking question,
Yep.
I'll probably ask the questions.
Yeah, go.
Yep, totally agree with you, but I think there's certain assumptions inside this, which you need to address. Like I share with you this way of, making money and everything else. Like, first thing, if you can get the shit a bit up on the first 10 years, maybe I'll share my experience with, the rest.
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Basically, that's why, when I do mentoring, the first thing that you need to know is the first 10 years here, you need to be able to achieve right to, 100 over 1,000, get through the 100,000 mark, that is going to be, for not all people will actually reach this level. And not all people wish is the next 20 years, they reach 140 and 170,000. Basically, if let's say for the graduates, I believe it's really the top couple of percent, 5 to 10%, which the mentees I work with reach the 10 years, 120,000, which is basically a manager. Then the 150 as a senior manager. And by the time 200,000, you're probably in the top few positions in the company, and a reasonable size company. That is, you need to hit this right on the dot to go for this plan. Number one, I see that, so we will have to make our core objective of able to achieve in life. After you graduate, first 5 years to hit 65, the 10 years 120, 15 years 150, and 20 years to 200,000. If you can achieve that, that is number one, then you have a chance. And also, by the time while you're doing the first 20 years, accumulate all the skills and think about the business that you want and the scalability, so that you collect the right skills, so that by the time the 25 years into your future, you start doing a business that you already have the skills. You already accumulated the level of skills that you have and the scalability, and make sure that and business 100,000 really, yes, a lot of people will also find it difficult to do from 100 to 600,000. It is not as easy, like, yes, we have to work hard, means we have to be successful in our career the first 20 years and successful in our business for the next 20 years. Basically, the person must have both skills, as an entrepreneur skills and also have a career skills. And secondly, able to invest properly in order to get the 8%, which will arrive at your 10 million, and also have the discipline of cost containment all through your life, because if not, as you grow bigger, as I see a lot of people, the car will become bigger, the house will become bigger, the spending all will become bigger. And obviously, that is where you will eat up all your expenses, where, the accumulation will not go, because every year you have taken everything off, like you have cashed everything off. You don't have anything that you will actually retain there for your accumulation of your income for your retirement. That's how I see all this. Basically, if you get all this right with a proper mentor, with a proper discipline, and a proper, able to do that, maybe I would say like we say, the millionaire is probably first 5% or 5% of the people that graduate, or people who are successful in their business and everything. So if you're able to achieve that, you obviously fall into the top 5% of the people. What do you think? Is that something fair to say?
Yeah.
And then I like your way of thinking. Okay.
I think I'm also on the same line, and that's why I can share together with William. Scalable business. First 10 years, I told my mentees, you need to hit the nail. 5 years, what is the target? If you can't move up, you move across. You need to gather the skills which you need for the next, at every level, you need to know the first, the future, the next 3 levels, what is required of the skills. You start accumulating now, and by the time you reach there, you already got there. And then the next 3 years and the target that you achieve. So by doing so, then you'll be a type of business you want, mix the type of networking you want, get the mentoring you want, then you're prepared for all this. And also know, the investment strategies, what type is suitable for you, what type can take the money and everything. I think William has obviously put it in a way that I don't put it in a spreadsheet, but in my brain, that is the strategy that, if you want to be successful in life, you need to do this.
Yeah. I agree. I think William, and I wish I see your spreadsheet much earlier, although I'm doing kind of like this kind of spreadsheet, but I don't have a spread. But your spreadsheet give people very virtual kind of structure for them to have a target for the life. I think this is very good guidance with your spreadsheet. Maybe the number is not exactly what people have, but this is kind of thinking for people to have a target every 5 years. I think is critical, especially for people starting the career after graduation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys. Alan has raised a very good point. It's I've put it very simply. If you're earning 20 grand a year, and you're lousy, and you don't improve yourself for the next 20 years, there's no chance.
Yep.
Right? There's no chance you can become a millionaire. Full stop. So you have to reach to some point.
You know why,
again,
William?
Yep.
You know why? Your income and your living cost will be the same.
Yeah.
What do you accumulate? Accumulate zero. If you're an accountant, you will know that if your income and your living cost is exactly the same, you're not. It's like exactly what we are having, the COVID-19. We're not in front. Like, the whole Australia or the world will say, we are not in front of them. We're always behind. What will happen? You don't have anything accumulative.
Yep.
Carry on, William. Sorry.
Yep. That's right. Good sharing, Alan. fire is about the money that makes money that makes money. Okay, so this is after 20 years that the money that you made money. Okay, and I want to bring back the example of the Academy of Olympians, that you choose that where you want yourself to be. If you choose just to live with you know every other 96% of people out there in the world, and your result will be as similar as them. But if you choose to be mentored and to play elite game and join an elite academy, for example, if you go to academy of that um, only trains special forces or FBI's, and even if you are the last achiever in that particular class, you will still be very very good. You may not hit $1 million mark at 15 years, you may hit $1 million mark at 17 years, you may hit $1 million mark at 20 years. That is still phenomenal. All right, 20 years, it means that at your age of 40 something you retire. How good is that, right? So it does not matter what do you need to do here to if your dream is hungry enough to you, you need to do exactly this, and provided that your full-time working income is the only thing that you think can make you this money. Yeah, I didn't put full-time employee working income in this particular spreadsheet to give you some stimulation of, yes, you can do other businesses. You can make your money in many other ways, but what's important is that to reach that $1 million mark at 20 years old, sorry, at 15 years, you need to make that kind of income. Again, you can adjust a little bit of the numbers here and there, but this is really the guideline. Do whatever that the hell that you can or get your hands onto to make this amount of money. Otherwise, the whole formula doesn't work. If your living cost is more than what's in the spreadsheet, make sure that that your income is much higher than your living costs proportionally, or you need to adjust your living. Okay, so that is the main point. All right, can I continue with the PowerPoint, or you guys have more questions?
Or the other one, I want to share what William has, the other idea.
Yeah.
It like I say is that it may not be you want to retire. Like says I wouldn't want to retire, but like scaling back the hours is a certainly good things which I'm actually also doing. You start with 40 hours. Whether you do business or what, then you can do something like 40 to 30 to 20 to 10 and enjoy. On the reversal, yeah, you enjoy the increased number of hours that you have.
Yep.
Whatever you want to invest in, whether it's like mentoring like I do, whether it's going to be business that you want to do, whether it's a consultancy you want to do, you will have that opportunity to be able to do so. If not, you won't have that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And you may not think of, what you're gonna do right now, but at that point you will, because you have a much more clear mind to think about things because of your emergency money that you have in your bank, and because of your cash flow return of income every single year. That kind of feeling will give you a clarity of what you want to do in the future. It's gonna be very easy at that point. Okay. So if I just stop sharing this, move on with the PowerPoint, if it's still there.
I want to ask another question. If you
Yep.
are going to move forward,
Yep.
this is the success formula. Are you going to be, work into a academy or something where you will teach us from the left, which is the part of, how do we, in every 5 years at every target of income, how do, we will mentor people or work with people, how to achieve the goals, successful in their career. At every 5 level, you do a check. And then how you be success in your business, every 5 level, you will do a check. And you will also teach people what is the achievable, target you have and how to invest in the 8%. And that makes you to be somebody who is going to be replicating your success formula to the rest of the people. And I believe if you do that, a lot of people will stay on with you and you will have success, successfully able to implement what you have done and teach what you have done to other people.
Yep. Thanks for sharing, Alan.
You're doing that? Yep.
Okay.
Are you doing that?
Yeah.
you will probably have quite a number of people who will be enrolling for that course.
My course.
As a
All right.
mentee, I think.
That cost will worth $1 million or more. Essentially, that cost is worth $10 million because that makes it 10 million.
Ah,
All right, let me continue. So you've seen the $1 million spreadsheet, okay, but you haven't seen, what the habit is. I think the $1 million spreadsheet is really the method. So, but the method plus habit is what you need here, okay. So if we just summarize the method is that you need to use your renewable resource plus your scalability of that particular model to have a sustained wealth. Okay, what a renewable resource for you right now, for us right now, is the time. Time is limited, but it's renewable. Scalability is the business that eventually you're going to build. And scalability is your skill. Scalability is your network. Scalability is your influences that you accumulated throughout your professional career. Then, but without a habit of doing such thing, you will never be able to reach that milestone. So every day you need to remember what your target is. Every day you need to do your discipline of how you spend your money. And every day and every month that you put a certain amount of money into your investment. Okay, and only that you can benefit from the power of compounding to accumulate huge wealth. Like I'm not sure if you heard, like Warren Buffett. If Warren Buffett's investment firm that returns 20% every single year. So if you're just putting the compound accumulating calculator, if you're putting $1,000 at year one and save it for 50 years, and every year just compounding 20%, you get $50 million at the end of 50 years. So that's the power of compounding. And remember, you hit the $1 million mark at a year of 15, but it only takes 5 more years to hit the next $1 million mark. Okay, and that is the power of compounding. So you need to use both the method and you need to execute on the habit to be able to create huge and sustained wealth. All right. So all of this concept is based really on this, cash flow income, and some of you may have already seen this from Rich Dad Poor Dad and some of what's it called, Robert Kiyosaki's book, right? So on the left hand side, which is blue, is called the non-scalable cash flow income method, if I put it. So you either have a job, employee, which is an E quadrant, or you're a self-employed sole trader. So you have your own business, you're the only operator, or you have a couple of staff, but you're doing the majority of the work. Yeah. So a lot of people mistakenly thought that they own a business, they have an ABN, they're now a business quadrant owner. They're not. They're basically trading more of that time to make slightly more money. Again, there's no leverage. There is an increase in income, but all that model is not scalable. Why? Because you're still trading your time for money. But on the right hand side, business owner is different because business owner use a system. You own a system, and with people that follows that system to make you constant money. And that's where I am at right now. So I do not do any technically related activities in my business. All I'm doing is, refining the structure, maybe get some clients, maybe coaching people of how to follow the system and how to have a system of to have the business self-propel and self-grow along its way. So this is what's called the business quadrant, and that use a system to make you money. So if I don't for example, if you're a plumber or if you're an electrician, you're a sole trader, right? If you don't go to site and talk to people and fix things at people's homes, you're not gonna make money. For me, it's different. If I don't go to work today, I still have my income. So that's called the passive income, and that is called the scalable income model. The scalability depends on what do you do, what does your business do, and your skill level, okay? And once you have the passive income, and then you control your spending of your living, then you have the power of saving a lot of money into investment to the point that it snowballs to give you the exact or even more income to replace your business income. And that is my goal at the moment. I'm still working on it. I'm probably 3 to 5 years away from that. I'm very confident I'm moving towards the right target, right? But if you are already in the business income like myself, which is great, it's a good life already, okay? But if you are in the employees and sole traders income, now you have being exposed to what you can potentially do, right? So it's not a bad idea to stay as the left hand side. Just make sure that you're working towards the right hand side and you have a target to go to the right hand side, and that takes a discipline of saving and saving up and adjust your the way you live, become some sort of minimalist. You don't have to go extreme, right? So adjust the level that the formula will work out for the number of years that you are happy with to become a millionaire, and that is the point. Okay, then you can move on to the business, then you become the investment. A lot of people make a huge mistake of thinking that they have a job and that's all they want to do. They can never be a business guy, they can never own a huge amount from the investment, or they don't have the patience of making money from the investment. Because remember, at the early years, you're not making much income from the investment. You're really not. It's the compound effect, that dedicated compound effect, that will make you a lot of money and become a millionaire and retire early in the future. Okay, so the two books I will introduce you and recommend today is the Four Laws of Financial Prosperity and the Compound Effect. So those are the books that I highly recommend you read it, to open it up and reinforce the knowledge that what we have shared today. Right, this is our LinkedIn page for It All Changes From Here. Everything that I've talked about and sharing here is completely free, and all the events are completely free. And as I said, there's no sales pitch whatsoever. What I would urge you to do is scan the code, join our elite group, so we can all move forward together towards that $1 million mark, if that's what you want. And if you do that, it opens the door to have access to myself as well, to give you continuous ideas of how you can get where you want to get in your life. And again, there is no charge for my personal contribution to you. My condition is that you have to join, and you have to be just following the ethics of our group regards, and just be a good participant, and be a good even giver, a contributor, to provide value to people around you, and do that, and that alone will give you some part of network that's going to benefit you a lot in life, because everybody that in the group will eventually coming towards a very focused target for us to either become great, become successful, make a lot of money, and make a lot of impact. And that's what our group is about, is to empower the next people that's around you, and including yourself. Okay, so I urge you to scan it, follow us, send me a text message, and we can chat further from there if you want a one-on-one conversation. Okay. So I do want to thank my friend, sponsor wireless1.com.au, with sponsoring all the electronic equipments for this event, for every event. They did offer me a discount code. It's called It All Changes From Here. So all you need to do is go to checkout. If you buy from there, they're based in Sydney, very reputable in the last 15 years. And that discount code will give you some sort of discount. Maybe it's $5, maybe $10. It's better than nothing. Okay. So our next event is going to be escape the cult of mediocrity. People, if you are an atheist, or even if you believe in God or any type of religion, right? And there's something that you believe, but if you are atheist, you believe in nothing. I want to tell you one thing, that you don't even know that what you're believing in right now. Like, if you're not living an elite life, you're evidently living a life that mediocrity gives you. Okay, remember, give your identity evidently. If you believe yourself, you belong to a group of mediocres, a society or group of the 96%, whatever that is, you will see yourself as a mediocre. You believe in the drugs that the mediocrity feeds you every single day. When your friend or even a family or someone around you complains about working is too hard, complain about, how my boss treats me, complains about, okay, what doesn't work out in your life, think about bad things happening is to you. Why are you a victim of everything? You know, these are all mediocrity thoughts because that you've been fed with the mediocrity media or information around you from social media, from your friend, from everyday, whatever that is. That's why you're evidently in a cult of mediocrity. And I will try to give you some idea of what elite is. You know, what's the 1% rule? What are the people who has been doing well, and what are they not telling you? And how can you get involved yourself in those, you know, top 1% group, not even 4%, top 1% group. So it's your choice of whether you want to believe in a cult of mediocrity or if you want to believe in the cult of the top 1%. I hope that's going to be a very great one for you guys. So I'll shoot out the invitation very soon in our group. Okay.
William,
Yep.
after that, can you spend 5 minutes? There's something I think, we all learned that is something I also have not learned this part.
Yep.
Is because, that the whole concept of this is basically on an 8% return investment. If you look at, if you are doing a 2% investment, let's say you put your money in the bank, you every 10 years, you only get 20% increase.
Mhm.
But if you put 8% return, you're doubling every 10 years. Your money actually comes from the doubling of this. Like you have shared with us before,
Mhm.
you have lost 250,000 before.
Yep.
So the biggest thing, like, a lot of our person ask me this same question, where you be invest, because you have actually a lot of experience. I dare not even tell people where to invest, because if you say, I say the bank is 2%, that is the safest. Even like super, you were talking about 4%, 5% after that. So where do you get your 8% is something if you don't mind, can you share with us? I think a lot of us can learn, to be success in the left-hand column. The investment part is the difficult part.
That's something that's gonna cost you guys a lot of money, you know.
Sure. Or if it costs a lot of money, you just charge the percentage. I believe you will have. I'll pay you.
Okay.
I'll get enough clients to do that and pay you. I said,
Okay,
a
okay.
person that's so secured, just pay me money. I'll get your money, doubling every 10 years.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I can share right now, but again, guys, don't take that as
Okay, as
yeah.
a talk. Okay, don't take it as something that Bible and then blame us on us.
Yeah, don't take it as a financial advice of anything. I'll give you one example.
Yep.
Well, I have to admit that I do have share investment, and my share investment gives me a safe return of 23-25% a year already. That's part of my portfolio. That's from the growth of the share, okay, not from the dividend. There are a couple of Australian-based share that's in the property market, meaning that they collect money, they raise money to buying property, and when the property gets redeveloped, it's gonna go increase in value, and that's how they distribute the profit to their shareholders, and that gives you about 9.5% as a dividend from you buying the share. So 8% is definitely achievable.
Yeah, but I think I'm also in that area. Okay, I'm actually doing that area exactly what you're doing, but there's a big risk. The project can just go down. Actually, the return can be 20 to 25%, because if people get money from there, we are actually asking them to the interest that we charge is 25%.
Mhm.
But we could try to tell people take up that, and maybe like three, let's say you get 20, as long as you have 60% out of 30% risk of success, then you'll get 8%.
No, it has to be a very safe investment. That's the rule. That's why
Very
8% to
difficult to
me is
get a
very
safe
low.
investment of 25%, William. I'll be very frank with you. In this area, they
Sorry?
are also taking a lot of high risk, and
Yeah.
it all depends on the person, the group, to manage. And
Yeah,
we
that's why
actually
I say don't go
yeah.
there. Yeah, don't
Very-
go to those groups. You have to go to a listed company. I'm talking about ASX company.
Is there an AXS which gives about 8%?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll just go.
yeah. You work out your own tax, but yeah, there is 8% there, and with the growth of the share price as well. Yeah, and failing that,
you
you
can
can
try it
invest
out.
in.
Yep.
Failing that, you can invest in SP 500, and that gives you a steady minimum 6% on every year, and in good years, 15% or something. Like now, you look at the SP 500, it's just skyrocketed to 4,000 something points right now. It's bizarre. But on the average for the last 20 years, I think the average growth is 6 to 7%, and that's very, very close to your 8%. And the rest of the money you can afford to go into cryptocurrency and whatnot, right? I'm talking about a combined 8% return. I'm not talking about giving all of your pot of money to go to share. Definitely don't do that. Like diversify your portfolio, some in share, probably crypto, probably some property, real property, or some property into syndicates. Buying steady stock that gives you dividend. There are stocks that give you, capital growth return, and there are stocks that gives you high dividend but low capital return. Okay, and there are private funds that you can buy into as well. There's just so many options. The only reason that people haven't found that option is because their network is not deep enough. Okay.
Totally agree. Yep, because there are investment that actually gets very good rental. The investment who actually means basically the appreciation of the asset is very high, but very little rental, like you say. There are also like private investment funds or the bank, which is a safe one, 2%. Private investment fund can go up to 20, 25%. So totally understand. Okay, thank you for sharing. Yep.
Good. Any questions, guys? Thank you, Tracy. And guys, I hope you guys, took a lot of away from this presentation. And again, like I can only help you so much if you ask the right question, because I don't know your personal situation. Your question will be very specific to your personal situation. That's the best way to get out of from, this particular session. All right. Oh, good. If there's no questions, if you want to reach out to me, you can message me on LinkedIn, or you can message me on on Meetup group or whatever. And all the social media platform we have it covered for it all. Change here. If it's on Facebook, it's on WhatsApp, it's on no, it's not on Instagram. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Meetup.
And I would like to thank William. I think he has really shared something which not many people have shared. And it's actually a secret that has been kept among a lot of people who makes money. And I would, thank you, William, for having to share that. Not many, I've not seen many people who share the success formula. They just, use it as part of theirs and maybe as part of their mentoring, way of, telling people how sharing their ideas very one-to-one, more of one-to-one as opposed to in a group. Thank you, William.
Thank you. And I appreciate all your presence tonight. And yeah, if there's no question, I have to let you guys go. All right. Have a good night.
Okay.
William. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, William.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.